Hey there, beautiful people. I hope all is well. This is Coach Tracey Knight. I am so excited about tonight. Let me get my life in order over here. I am so excited about this evening and this live that I'm going to be doing. It's been a minute, since I, um, jumped right in and started doing lives again. And I've missed you. And I've missed this experience of doing the lives and just having these conversations that are so needed, especially for Black women. So I definitely want to hear from you. So, and I'm telling y'all, I'm using this new platform. So y'all gonna have to bear with me on this. But I invite you to post your questions in the chat. Yeah, if you want to hear about some other topics, please post that. If you have some statements or thoughts about the subject matter that I'm going to be talking about, which tonight we're going to be talking about the hidden cost when you do it all. You're the one, you're the GOAT. Nobody is coming to save you. Either you do it or it don't get done, type of thing. So before I jump in, I also want to invite you to like us, tag us, share us with all of your friends. I'm going live on Wednesdays, and it'll be alternating Wednesdays at 7 p.m. So this week I'm on at 7 p.m. and in 2 weeks it'll be 7 p.m. Next week it'll be at noon during the lunchtime hour, because I really want to kind of get a feel for what you guys like. If it's the evening time, that's cool. That's what we're going to rock with. But if it's at noontime, I also want to come into the workplace, and kind of see if I can bring some support at that time when the pressure might be up to here and you really need to hear from someone. Okay. So I want to hear from you. So please be sure to add your comments. All right. So uh, let's see here. I am Coach Tracey Knight, and I am the emotional intelligence coach for high achieving Black women who look successful on the outside. And we really are successful on the outside, but we finally want to feel that way on the inside. If that resonates with anybody, put an amen in the chat. So again, if you're one of those high achieving Black women who has attained a great deal of success, but you don't always feel that way on the inside, and you want some support on how to do that, put an amen in the chat. My commitment, my focus is really on empowering you to break the cycle of overextending yourself, overgiving, people pleasing, fixing, and just carrying it all. And while this is so applicable to Black women, I know that there are some brothers out there that this is so applicable to as well. And the reality of it is, when we learn how to stop overextending ourselves, I call it over functioning. When we stop over functioning, then you will be able to lead with more confidence, more self-assurance. You will have less stress. You will avoid burnout. You will learn how to uphold boundaries for yourself. And you will learn how to trust yourself in the way that you lead yourself in your work, in all of your relationships, especially if you lead a team at work. And you will learn how to more effectively lead your life. So the topic I thought that I would just jump in with is one on what is the hidden cost that we have for carrying it all. This is something that is so near and dear to my heart. For many of you, you may know that my mother passed away in the last year, and actually my dad passed away a couple of weeks ago. And I've been very reflective on how they lived their life and how the way that they lived their life impacted the way my sister and I live our lives. As Black women, we're oftentimes praised for being very strong, but nobody really talks about the damage it does when strength becomes our own identity. We were oftentimes raised as Black women, but I know Black men as well, were raised to hold it all together. We hold it together for our families. We hold it together for the teams that we lead in the workplace. We hold it together for our significant other. We hold it together for our sororities, for our churches. And oftentimes we may look around and find that we don't really feel held, right? So there is a cost to that. And it's a big cost, a deep cost, one that most of us don't see until it's taking a piece of our health, until it's taking a piece of our joy, until our relationships and our life no longer feel peaceful. I can tell you a very personal story around how this impacted me, this idea of I have to do it all. I remember when I was married to my first husband. I'm gonna pause there and let you sit with that for a minute. Yes, I was married to my second husband. I was married to my second husband, and we had a blended family, right? And so the dynamics are, I'm married, we're both very successful people. We've got all the trappings of success, right? We're doing the darn thing. But I am waking up a lot of days like crying. I'm serious. Like I was waking up crying, and I can remember so clearly saying to God, like, if this is all that there is, then I will do my best to try to be happy. But if there is something more, please reveal that to me, because I was so on the edge of like burnout. And the thing is, I had done the checklist of things that are supposed to make you happy and make you feel successful, but it doesn't. And so, even though on the outside I had all this success, I had started a new business, the business is growing and doing well, but I'm having to work in it a great deal of time. And so, sometimes my husband at that time was feeling neglected. I don't feel I was neglecting, but we only have so much bandwidth, we only have so much capacity, right? And so, he worked kind of like a 9 to 5, like he worked a job. And so, I mean, he had a successful career, but he had a beginning and end point to his. And for me, it required that I work beyond 4, 5, 6 o'clock at night. And that began to take a strain, not to mention we have a blended family. So I'm helping to raise a child. And over time, just the dynamics that come with all of that started to affect my health. And I can so clearly just remember praying to God, like, please reveal something to me. And that's really what set me out on this journey of learning how to recontextualize really what success really is for me. What is most important to me, because if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. I've had enough incidences to know that if your health is starting to fail or you're having challenges in your health, then there really is no place to go from there. You must prioritize that. But at the same time, we want to be in a healthy relationship, and marriages and relationships, they take time, they take energy, they take effort. And so oftentimes we see some of these signs showing up, but we begin to ignore those signs. So some of the signs that I want you to be aware of, not that your relationship is failing, but the sign that you are carrying it all. And you may be on that same bridge or that same cliff that I was on, is if you are the person who is the default problem solver at work and at home. Like everybody comes to you, the family comes to you like you the GOAT. And maybe you are the GOAT, like the greatest of all time, but the greatest of all time needs some space as well, needs some support as well. Like if you're that default problem solver that everybody comes to for all the answers and the clues, that may be pushing. If people oftentimes say like, you got it, or even better yet, if you're the one that's like, when the problems come, you're like, I got it, I got it, I got it. I'll just do it. And you find yourself not being able to ask for help. That could put you on that cliff, right? If you are that chick who, when there seemingly is nothing to do, and it's you find yourself sitting down to rest, but you feel guilty about resting. You feel like, I know it's something for me to be doing right now. I could be getting ahead of the curve, and you don't ever get ahead of it. It's always one more thing on the checklist that has to be done, right? So that checklist just keeps filling up. Every time you knock some things down, more fills up. But the main thing there is that you're the one that feels guilty taking the time to rest, taking the time to sleep in, going away and doing some things just for yourself, whether it's to go to the spa or taking time to read a book or going for the walk. I was with a client earlier this week, and she's a single mom, and she was saying, man, like she feels like she is being an ineffective mother. If she has like 4 gift cards to spa to get massages, right? She's not used them because she feels like that would be taking time away from her children and they need her the most. But she's on burnout. And as a result of the burnout, she finds herself being irritable. She finds herself being in kind of that transactional relationship with her children where, she's on them about getting the schoolwork done and did you do your chores and did you do this? So it's very transactional, but they don't get to really experience the joyful, peaceful, pleasant, playful side of her. They experience the side that is, low energy. The battery is on low, right? And so she came to me because she's like, I really want to experience something else. So do you resonate with that? That feeling guilty about taking the time for yourself? What about if you're smiling on the outside, but on the inside, you feel numb? You don't really feel anything. You just making it from one day to the next, or on the inside, you feel irritated. Look, y'all, a few weeks ago, this woman, my significant other, and I were on the phone with this person from our Marriott property. And the woman was so chipper. She was so chipper and she was so pleasant. And she just had excellent customer service. And anybody who knows me knows that I love excellent customer service. And she's just like high vibration, right? And for all intents and purposes, I should have been like, man, this is amazing talking to her. I found myself, y'all, being like, why is she so happy when I'm over here frustrated, right? And that's what I'm talking about being numbed or irritated on the inside because your cup is filled to capacity, right? That you can't even enjoy some of the basic pleasures of life. And if you're that person who struggles with asking for help, even though you know that your cup is filled to the brim, but you don't ask for help because you don't want to look weak. It may feel like it's another job, like you just gonna have to go back and correct it any old way, right? You don't want others to feel like you are being a burden on them. These are some of the signs. These are the telltale signs. I think about my mother who really never asked for help. And now as my sister and I, we go back and we reflect, there are so many times when my mother really needed help. She did. And it wore out her health. It wore out her spirit in many ways. And it defaulted her to other types of ways to soothe herself, like eating, she took great joy in cooking and eating, which is what a lot of people do. As Black women, we find some other way, shopping. Hello me. I used to do that all the time, to find some other way to soothe yourself, to bring what you consider to be some joy into your life. And I'm just really here to say that you don't have to live your life like that. If you're living your life where you're just trying to get through this week and the week really never ends because it rolls into the next week and then you find yourself right back in that same genre, that same mindset, that same stress, then there is something bigger going on there. And what is going on there is like you're carrying it all. You are not broken. You're carrying it all. You have taken on the notion, the idea that you have to be the one to do it all. And this is not your fault, because the truth is we have subscribed to a number of myths. Let me break them down for you. One is like that strong Black women don't need help. That's a fallacy. Okay? That if you don't do it, it won't get done right. That's a fallacy. It's true that some people may not do it the way that you do it, but there's more than one way of doing something. And part of what we need to do is to learn how to adjust and adapt. It's not about lowering expectations. It's about letting go of perfectionism. Hello, somebody. Hello, somebody. Another one, and guys, I am so working on this one. That rest has to be earned. Rest is a right. Now that has lineage that traces all the way back to our ancestors in slavery, where they oftentimes didn't get rest, right? That rest was something that was granted as a privilege, opposed to it being a right. You have the right. If nobody else has told you, you have the right to an easy life. Yes, you do. That is a birthright. And yet this takes us recontextualizing, rescripting our mindset. Another myth that you need to be aware of is that sacrifice is love. That is not love. No, it's not love. No, it's not. To sacrifice what you want, what you need, so that other people feel happy, feel joyful, feel peaceful, get what they need, whether it's your children, your lover, your co-workers, your boss, and at your expense? Absolutely not. That is not love. That is not support. That is not belonging. Nope. That's a learned behavior. That's a pattern. Your worth is not defined by how much you produce and how much you carry. That is just one of many myths that we carry that have been passed down for us. And they are sure signs of codependency dressed up as responsibility and as love. It's getting us into trouble. I mean, there are some very real costs that's associated with this, like stealing our joy. When was the last time that you can really say that you were in a state of just pure bliss, pure joy, pure pleasure, right? You were doing the things you wanted to do. You were unapologetic about it. You took as much time as you wanted. Or when you're doing those things, are you thinking about the next thing you got to do so you're not really even fully present? How about that? It also steals our health. I'm talking about the having constant tension, anxiety, and fatigue as a lifestyle, because that's where some people are now. Blood pressure, oh, people are writing it off because they're like, well, it's genetic. No, just because you have a predisposition to something does not mean that you have to have it. That is not what that means. Emotional burnout or mood swings, hello, ladies, your hormones being out of balance. Hormones control so much in our body. When your hormones are not regulated, like when you have excessive stress, that throws your hormones out of whack via cortisol levels. Okay. And so when your hormones get out of whack, this is where things like low estrogens linked to hair loss, aching joints, itching skin, low testosterone, low sex drive, can't sleep at night, low progesterone levels, night sweats, hot flashes. I mean, I know maybe I'm not talking to anybody out there, but I am so clear that the inability to sleep at night is connected with hormones. And until you learn to regulate these other aspects of your life, it doesn't matter how much medicine, herbs, and supplements you take. You must combine that with shifting and reprocessing the way that you work at life, the way that you experience life, the way you approach life. Those things must work in tandem. And the reality of it is when we are in this state of carrying it all, it also creates resentment. Resentment towards your job, resentment towards your partner, your kids, your team, and yourself. So it just leads to this block in connection, quite honestly. The point at which you are just too tired to be present for anything, or too overwhelmed to be soft and to be feminine like you want to be with your sweetie, right? Too guarded to even receive support, always thinking that people may have missed something or might be out to get you, or, might undermine you. And all of that leads to not having people offer the support, not showing up because they get tired of experiencing you as not being present and being overwhelmed and being persnickety. This is where some of that angry Black woman persona comes from. So I want you to know that you're surrounded, but you are absolutely not alone. You absolutely are not. We are socialized to survive instead of thrive. And I am here to help you shift that. Here. It's not about fixing, because you're not broken. You just have habits that no longer serve you. We inherited roles like being the fixer, being the person that's strong, being the nurturer, being the mentor, being the backbone. Our excellence has become our armor, and our independence has become our isolation. Strength has become our silence. And so what I want to invite you to do is, if you are sick and tired of living your life in this way, here's an opportunity for you to begin to shift things. You are simply not broken. You are just carrying too much. So I want to invite you to join me on December 17th. It's in 2 weeks, on a Wednesday at 7 p.m. Same time, same place. But you need to register. Go to my LinkedIn profile at I am Tracey Knight on LinkedIn. Register for my free masterclass. The name of it is When You Can't Afford to Drop the Ball. I'm going to tell you how to overcome the number one barrier to having support, to being seen, to feeling safe, to feeling supported, to feeling free, and to feeling fulfilled in your life. This is a new day. And if you are that high achieving Black woman who is ready to say yes to herself, who is ready to live as a fully expressed woman unapologetically, then I want to invite you to join me. To join me and my entire movement of women, because there are other women who are already out here busy doing this work and have been. I can speak personally for the changes that I have made in my life that have made all the difference in the world. And I want to help you do the same. I'm Coach Tracey Knight. I want to thank you for joining me here this evening. And again, ping me, DM me. If you have any questions, you have any thoughts, book a call with me, and we will make sure that you develop the skills to take back, transform, and begin to win at the game called life. I'll see you next Wednesday.